Hey, welcome to today's Q&A. Thanks you guys for joining me. Let's make sure everything is working before I start jabbering. There, I think we're good. All right, well, welcome. My name is Jessie. I'm here with Decker Truckline. Been with Decker since 2010. What year is it? Just kidding. All right, welcome you guys. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate you. This is a Q&A. This is an opportunity for you to get your questions answered here live. And the benefit of that is that, a little peace of mind that you know what you're getting is accurate. So that's part of it. But of course, not having to wait on hold or tracking down additional information elsewhere. It's right here now. Get your questions answered. So if you have a question, put it in the chat and then I'll be able to answer it. As they come in, I'll answer them. As of course, if you want more specifics, which is probably why you're here, if you want specifics on what we have available out of your location, what the rate of pay is, and all that, the whole 9 yards, then please give me your zip code or just your city and state, either one, and that way I can give you specifics on what we have out of that location. And then as for your rate of pay and what the compensation would be, the best thing to do is to let me know how much experience you have. We do require experience to come aboard without training. However, we do offer training in some of our different divisions. So that just depends on what division you're looking at, where you live, because of course we only have certain divisions in certain locations. So that is obviously helpful. And our over-the-road refrigerated, our more regional refrigerated, and our more regional flatbed does offer training. So if you have questions on that or anything else, put it in the chat, or you can get a hold of our recruiting department directly. You can speak one-on-one at 877-433-2537. Now, one of the great benefits of having you ask your questions here live is somebody else might have the same exact question, and then we can answer them for you all. So that's what it's about. So welcome to today's Q&A. We're going to talk a little bit about the available positions that we have at Decker. We'll also talk about our equipment as well as the benefits and when all of that kicks in. So we'll start there. Flatbed Trucker says, I am looking for a job. I've got an emoji right over the top of your zip code. So let me see if I can pinpoint. I have 4762, and then I have no idea what that last number is. But you're looking for a flatbed. So I'm going to throw a 3 in there because I have no idea. That doesn't look like a good location. 2. Okay, thank you, Katie. 47620. There we go. Gotcha. I don't have anything out of there, but let me do some searching here and see where you're at. See what I can make. If there's anything that we can make work, if it's just not pulling up and there is something out of there, I'll do my due diligence here. And just to be sure, I hate to tell you we don't have anything, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, just kidding. All right, so just kidding. I need to run miles to Evansville. So what we've got out of your area, right? Let's see. Yeah, 18 miles. We can do that. See, it's a good thing I checked. I hate to tell you one thing and then find out otherwise. So what we've got out of your area is going to be our Midwest Flatbed division. And that one can get you home every week, actually. I am looking here at one other thing just to make sure that I'm getting you all of the details. I need to run a different zip code that's pretty darn close to you. That was not the one I wanted. Let's see. How come I keep running into issues here? So I'm going to pull up my map I promised I'd have today. Zoom in. There we go. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this yet, but here in the red is our hiring area. So you're right there on the border is what I'm getting at. There you go. Can you see that? Okay. So what I've got out of there is going to be my 1450. Right? Yeah. So what I have is my over-the-road flatbed. Actually, it'll get you home. I'm looking at a couple of different options here, so bear with me as I'm fighting my own locations here. I think the best bet. See, that's what happens. You're in a neck of the woods that I just need to confirm, because you're right on the border of some of our hiring area. Definitely within our running lanes, if you can see that. Let me zoom out a little bit so that you can see all of the running lanes. Maybe. Okay. I gotta remember which way zooming out is. There's a struggle today, you guys. There we go. That's a little bit easier to see. But what you're looking at here is yellow is our running lanes for flatbed, and the red is our hiring area. Now, as far as the home weekly, looks like you might be just a little bit south of that, and that's where I'm just trying to pull that specific map up. So thanks for bearing with me here. Yeah. Hey, Mike, how are you? It's not the tornado watch. Although it could be. Okay. I pulled up our other map, and you're actually safe in both locations. So, flatbed trucker, this is what I have. We can do home weekly in your area. We actually have a 1450. The areas that you're seeing are more of our over the road as well as regional. So if I were to tell you that Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, that is going to be the majority of your running lanes, as well as obviously our hiring area for that one. So that's $14.50 per week in the Midwest Flatbed Division and home weekly. You are right on the edge of that. So that's why I wasn't quite sure if I could make it work. But as I zoom in, it looks like you're pretty good. So with that $14.50, we do require that you have flatbed experience or go through our training, and we will go through our flatbed training. Now, let me restate this. When it comes to flatbed training, if you're an experienced driver, you'll have your 3 days of orientation followed by some securement and tarp training there at the terminal in Fort Dodge. So Fort Dodge, Iowa. And then once you've completed that, then you'll be running solo. If you have experience, you won't have to go with a trainer out on the road. It's just making sure that you have the tarping and securement training before you go out on the road. We require a minimum of 6 months of experience in order to bypass the whole training part of it. So yes. Yeah, it is intense weather today, I hear. Mike says, I see a few trucking companies going bankrupt and shutting down. That stinks. But Decker is still hiring. Yes. So I assume Decker is not borrowing money from the banks. No. So here's the thing. Decker's been around since, which doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot to some, because I've seen some long-standing companies start to get a little shaky. But Decker is definitely stable. You've seen some changes here in-house to make sure that our longevity of the company will continue. and the stability of the company will continue. You know, it's great to have smart people behind the scenes making sure that we're going to be here long term, right? So Decker is a family company. It's been here since 1931. Dale Decker is currently running, and we've got the president is still Don Decker. It all started back with Lauren in 1931. Yeah, so it's family owned, it's family operated. Plus we have a whole lot of others helping out, which of course is the day to day. But yeah, trying to avoid that, making good decisions to make sure that we're here long term. Let's see. Flatbed trucker, I do want to come back and answer some of the questions that you might have. When it comes to the Midwest flatbed, this is a regional position, this 1450 that runs into your area, and it pays $1,450 per week and home weekly. You're coming home on the weekends, so coming home usually a Friday night or a Saturday morning, and then leaving back out either Sunday night or Monday morning usually for an early Monday morning delivery. So that's pretty normal for that Midwest flatbed division. A lot of tarping, a lot of securing, a lot of short runs. Yes, you're running Chicago. You're running mostly Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio. I think that's the majority of it. Sorry, I didn't realize I still had my volume cranked up to annoy everybody. Let's turn that down. All right. So yes, that's the 1450. It's following a 3-day orientation. If you are an experienced driver, an inexperienced driver, then you would need to go through training, and that could push you out a week or two depending on our availability for training. That's definitely a recruiter question so that we know where we're at with availability on trainers. So there you have it. Tom is asking about a zip code here. What are we at? 25215. So we have both refrigerated and flatbed out of your area. It's over the road in both locations. For flatbed, you'd be you'd be home every other weekend, and for refrigerated, you'd be home every 11 days. So with refrigerated, we can't guarantee you home on the weekends. Like with flatbed, it's, pretty sure that's going to happen. So let's see. This is Mount Vernon. Yeah, I want to double check this. And for Tom, I just need to double check. You were at maybe 35215. Oops. My computer's trying to catch up with me. I didn't realize I was. Okay. So yeah, you have refrigerated and flatbed out of your area, Tom. So it's up to you which one you'd prefer. With the refrigerated, the minimum pay in both cases is going to be $1,000. Of course, your rate of pay, Tom, per mile is based off of your experience level. So if you have 5 years of experience, you're going to start higher in the flatbed division per mile than you would the refrigerated. It evens out about, because usually the miles for the refrigerated are a little bit more on average. So refrigerated, and I'm just throwing years of experience out here, but if you were at 5 years of experience, you'd be starting at right around 59 cents a mile. 10 cents of that's per diem. If you're in the flatbed division, you're looking at 64 cents a mile to start with. Again, 10 cents of that's per diem. In both cases, you'd get a penny raise after 90 days. You'll also get a penny raise every year on your anniversary as well. So, yes, we've had a lot of the same customers. That's a good point that Katie makes. Katie's behind the scenes, so wave hi to Katie. We've had a lot of the same customers in the 90 plus years that we've been in business. Plus, some of them were the first that we had. Yeah. Flatbed Trucker says, I have 3 years of flatbed experience this Friday, and I'm driving for 10. Okay, so let me re-quote you so you actually have an idea of your rate of pay. With 10 years of experience, only 3 being flatbed, which is still very good, we'll because your tractor trailer experience is 10 total, we'll recognize that. You'll start at 68 cents a mile. 68 cents a mile, 10 cents again, 10 cents of that is per diem, so you're not taxed on 10 cents a mile. And then, which gives you a little bit more take home each week. 10 cents a mile. We also, you'll get a penny raise after 90 days and then annually. The cap right now is at 70 cents, but that does not count towards any of our bonuses. So our scorecard bonus, our safety bonus, are the 2 monthly bonuses, which will be coming up here in the next week or so. Those can be an additional 5 cents a mile on all combined. Let me restate that. Between the scorecard and the safety bonus, those can be an extra 5 cents a mile more on top of, in this case, 68 cents a mile based off of your experience level. But remember, your rate of pay per mile and the miles that you run, if they exceed that $1,000, well, in $14.50 for your case, flatbed trucker, because you're in an area that we have that $14.50 home weekly option, then you'll get the better of the two. With the $14.50, it's usually, I think the average is right around $1,500 for that division, where with our over-the-road divisions, they're a little bit higher, even though the minimum pay, that safety net is right around $1,000 a week. Or not right around, it is $1,000 a week. Mike says yellow freight is 10 times larger than Decker, but they were stuck with the Teamsters union policy. Yeah, that I think is what hurt them. Well, part of what hurt them. They bought out many other trucking companies, LTL operation. You know, and we've, in the past, I mean, as we've grown, we have bought companies that were struggling, you know, in growth, and I think, was it about a month ago, we had an anniversary of one of them, and I think it was 28 years. Is that right? 28 years? 24 years. But we have quite a few, not just professional drivers, but also in-house individuals who came from those companies. That's over 20 years that one was bought out. So that was pretty impressive. Good relationships and communications do go a long way. I agree with you, Katie. Mike says, so that would be 58 cents. That would be 58 cents per mile plus 10 cents per diem. I remember asking you to explain per diem. Yes. Okay. Thanks, Mike. So per diem is basically non-taxable income. So deep dive into this, as deep of the dive as someone who doesn't have an accounting or tax degree. So with per diem being non-taxable income, you have your cents per mile that are taxable, you have your cents per mile that, did I say that right, are taxable, and then the non-taxable income, which is per diem. You are allotted a certain amount per day that you can claim as non-taxable. And with 10 cents per mile being per diem, that gets you a little bit more take home than if it was all taxed, right? Now it's in the long run, and this can be in both ways, because you can claim it at the end of the year. You can claim the difference as well. So you can maximize it come tax time. And then you would also be able to have claimed it at the end of the year if it wasn't paid. But again, that's when you're maxed out. So that's per diem is non-taxable income is what that means. But your rate of pay per mile taxed would be 58. This is for flatbed trucker, would be 58 cents a mile. And then you have the 10 cents per diem on top of that. So let's say you have, I should have brought a visual aid here for you, but let's take the example of your pay stub, okay? So at the top part of your pay stub, since you're paid the same on all miles, loaded and empty, you've got your 58 cents a mile loaded, and it'll have the load number on the top. And then underneath it, it'll have the non-taxable, which will be 10 cents per mile loaded. And those will have the same load numbers, right? So they'll be like on top of each other. But one will be in the non-taxable section and one will be in the taxable. Then you'll also have the empty miles. Now you're paid the same either way, but they are broke out separate so that you can see them. So then you'll have the empty miles, and it does the same exact thing. 58 cents a mile, that's taxable, and then 10 cents, that's not taxable. So then you'll see the you'll see what your loaded miles are, what your empty miles are, basically what the percentage is each time. And that, it doesn't say per diem. What does it say, Katie? Do you remember? I thought I had my book in front of me. But it doesn't actually use the word per diem. It has, like, I was trying to think what it is stated. We give you these examples, by the way. Katie took the time to create these. I'm quite impressed. And they have the breakdown or the key. Where's my finger? There. You've got the key to show what everything means for, you know, other earnings, taxable, before taxes, after taxes. Okay, so it does say per diem on that one. On that reefer example. Sorry, I'm trying to show examples here. So it'll look something like that. Can you see that? We'll have so you'll have the loaded, there we go, the loaded, and then you'll have the per diem right under it. That's how it breaks out. Anyways, you'll receive this in orientation so that you'll be able to refer back to it. But Mike, that was a great question. Thank you. Let's see. Mike says, as I understand, the per diem is so that you don't have to keep receipts and itemized meals, showers, hotels. Yes, that's what per diem is. So the per diem, like I said, you're allotted a certain amount per day. It's basically to cover meals and hotel and things like that. Well, we provide you, our trucks have all kinds of amenities in there, so you have a lot of the comforts that you would have in the hotel without having to move everything in and out each time. We have televisions, we have microwaves and refrigerators and APUs and bunk heaters, of course bunk heaters, inverters for those of the trucks, Cascade Evolutions, the Cascadias have, which are the Freightliners, they have the Opta-Idle instead of the APU. But yeah, they are full of amenities and that will cover a lot of it. Now we also have, when it comes to showers and things like that, we use Pilot Flying J a lot. That is one of our main fuel stops. So you'll get big discounts with us using the fuel card for showers and whatnot. So keep that in mind as well. If you're driving locally and home every night, you can't even deduct your lunch at local McDonald's. If you're driving locally, I think it's 100-mile radius, I think is what it is. Don't quote me on that one, Mike. I need to double check with under the statutes of per diem. I usually have that printout near me because I'm not sure what regulates it or what qualifies you and what doesn't. But that's a good question. Let's see. What if I did? What if I look for here? Okay. Give me a sec here. I'm going to look, see if I can find a quick answer for you. I'm cheating. Looking it up. Okay, so until I find that, I'll get back to you on that one. But yes, as for equipment, they're newer model, first of all, and very well equipped. You're looking at mostly the 579 Peterbilts. We have some 730, 760, 860 Volvos, and a few Freightliner Cascadia Evolutions. The majority of the trucks, by far, are the 579 Peterbilts. And I should have mentioned, we have the 389 as well. The 389 Pete, though, don't go under the assumption that you're going to be getting a 389 because those are usually assigned to our veteran drivers who got to spec the truck a little bit. So some of those are manuals. Most of those are manuals that I'm aware of. And the rest of our trucks are automatics. And again, it's because they get to spec the trucks a little bit to their liking. There isn't as much room in the 389s but you got to admit they look pretty darn sharp. All of our trucks are the double bunks, and they've got great storage with them. Like I said, with the 389s, it's not as roomy. The sleeper is smaller, where the 579, it is a lot larger. It has the ultra loft sleeper and everything. So right now, the standard per diem for transportation, including truck drivers, is $59 per day, it says. And that applies when the driver is away from home overnight for work. That's basically the definition. You cannot claim per diem for single day shifts, even if they work overnight. That's good to know. Per diem is also considered non-taxable income, and per diem income is not counted towards qualifying for loans and credit and as regular income would. So that's also good to know for those of you who are wondering or looking for loans and stuff. The other thing is, let's see, per diem is $59 per day for most locations in the U.S. Okay, so I'm going to give you the source that it's the Truckers Report. I'm going to include that in here. Can I just do that without messing things up? We'll see. That's where I found some of the information. I think that would be helpful for those of you wondering, but that did bring me to another thought, I should say. When it comes to per diem, you'll notice that obviously we offer that in our over-the-road, our regional positions. We have one local position available. It is an 11 a.m. start. You do need to live within the Fort Dodge, Iowa area. That one is a per shift pay. And I think that is a good example of why we have per diem in our over-the-road and regional positions. In our local, we pay per shift and not mileage pay, because then you'll be able to benefit even more. So the per shift is $225 per shift, $225 per shift. It starts at 11 a.m. It's a hopper position, and it is roughly an 8-hour trip from Fort Dodge, Iowa to Blair, Nebraska. So Fort Dodge, Iowa to Blair, Nebraska and back. And then, like I said, that's a daily position. So this is how the schedule works. You're on for 2 days, off for 2, on for 3, off for 3, and then continue that rotation. You can either do that one, so 2 on, 2 off, 3 on, 3 off, back to 2 on, 2 off. Or you can do 11 days on and 3 days off. That's another option. And either one works for us. It just depends on what your preference is. But remember, it is $225 per shift. However, that's Monday through Friday. When your shift lands on a Saturday or Sunday, you're actually getting paid $250 per shift. So you go from $225 per shift to $250 per shift on the Saturday, Sunday. But again, that is one position available. It is an 11 a.m. shift, and it is, let's see, you do need to live within 25-mile radius of Fort Dodge, Iowa. And the trucks that I was talking about earlier that had the APU and the inverters and the double bunks and all of that, those are not the trucks that you'd be running that specific position in. That one is a day cab that keeps on rolling. So whereas these other ones, you're assigned to the truck, that is your truck, you've got your belongings in there, it's your space. It's your space away from home, basically. And that's where all of those amenities and goodies are included. Speaking of, I hit briefly on it, but I didn't go into detail on all of them. They all are equipped with CB units. They are radio ready for the Sirius radio if you have the subscription. If you don't, it's totally fine, because we have Geotab units in the trucks, and we have Wi-Fi data that you can stream using your phone if you prefer. Otherwise, we are upgrading our Epic View satellite TV. Yes, all of our trucks have the 22-inch, all of our over-the-road and regional trucks have the 22-inch smart TV in them, plus we offer Epic View satellite TV programming. We are swapping from Epic View to Epic View Plus, which will allow for the free Wi-Fi. It's a lot quicker streaming than our current setup, but we're just beginning the process of getting the equipment for it. So it's going to take a little bit of time. Bear with us, but you are getting the upgrade and for that Epic View Plus. So you'll still be getting the Showtime and Cinemax and HBO and Sunday Ticket. All of those were going to be included. You just won't have that dome on the back, and it'll be a little bit faster with the streaming and other capabilities such as Wi-Fi. What else for amenities? We do have the lytic system in our trucks, which is one of our safety features. It does include both inward and outward facing event recorders, lane departure, speed gauge, following distance. If a critical event were to happen, then those would kick on those inward facing event recorders or cameras. And when I say critical event, I'm talking speeding, erratic lane change, hard braking, following too close. All of those would be triggers for the inward-facing event recorder or inward-facing camera to kick on. But that's the lytic system. We also have the microwaves in the trucks. We have refrigerators in the trucks, great storage, double bunk trucks. Both the driver's side and the passenger side seats are air ride, so you've got comfort. Yes, we do allow passengers ages 10 and up, and it's $25 a month for them to ride. That's the insurance policy. We have, what else am I missing? You'll see that some of our trucks have solar panels on them. That is to help the longevity or the life of the APU unit. And that's I think we have some on the trailers as well, on our Great Danes, to prolong the life of the reefer unit as well, I believe. But I know we have them on the Cascadia Evolution. So if you have questions about that, let us know. If you haven't seen some of our equipment, you'll have to go on our YouTube and check out a lot of our videos. We've got interior and exterior shots of our trucks, so you can take a look at the equipment. We're pretty darn proud of our equipment. It's very important for us to have high quality, top of the line trucks and trailers for our professional drivers, because I mean, if you're not moving, you're not making money, we're not making money. Like it's everything working together, and we want to make sure that our maintenance program works well with it as well. So we have the average age of the trucks is about a year, not quite a year and a half. And then actually right at a year and a half. Sorry, I don't do math. Just kidding. It's about a year and a half. And then our maintenance plans, we have, of course, our regular A and B services. We've got shops in Fort Dodge, Iowa, Hammond, Indiana, Des Moines, Iowa, Sperry, Minneapolis, Bessemer, Alabama, Missoula, Montana. So those are our terminal locations. I say Hammond, Indiana. Yeah. So we've got shop locations available to help with the maintenance, of course. Make sure we're on there. We have our 24/7 maintenance support, which they rock. They are fantastic. You can call them any time of the day, and they'll be able to help you out, make arrangements for you. If your truck is going into the shop and it's going to be there for a couple of days, they will work with your driver manager to get you into a temporary truck to keep you moving. And usually our temporary trucks are very similar to what you currently are in. Usually, sometimes you might get a Volvo or a Peterbilt, and you're used to, and maybe your truck is Peterbilt or Cascadia or whatever. So there might be some difference, but when it comes to amenities, they're going to basically have everything that you would have in your other truck. What else can I tell you? We do have, so speaking of maintenance, we do pay for breakdown. If you are broke down, it's $100 for the first day, $150 for the second, $200 for the third, and they're on. But like I said, we try to keep you moving because we do recognize, and we've had several professional drivers reaching out to us and say, hey, I need to get moving. So I know my truck's going to be in the shop. How can I keep moving? That's when the maintenance department is working with your driver manager to get you into another truck to keep you rolling, so you're making more. You're not on the low end there. You're making more money on that one. Speaking of making money, we talked about your rate of pay per mile, And I briefly mentioned minimum pay for across the board. Minimum pay is going to depend on the position that you're in. Some minimum pays are higher than others, but either way, it is a safety net for you. It's sitting there protecting you from maybe lack of miles or downtime, detention, layover, mechanical breakdown, any of those. It's basically protecting you. So yes, we pay for detention, we pay for breakdown, we pay for layovers, but if it's, you're going to make more money moving, and we recognize that, but we still want to make sure that you have a minimum amount that you can rely on each and every week. So for the most part, $1,000 is our bottom line there. And in order to qualify for that safety net, I don't know, that's what I call it, as a safety net. And you can call it whatever. It's minimum pay, but I call it safety net. That, in order to qualify for that, there are 6 criteria. They're pretty basic. None of them are mileage based. It's be available for dispatch at least 5 days out of the week. No load refusals. And again, this is just to qualify for the minimum pay. No driver service failures, so no late loads. But that's driver service failure. So if you were late because of a shipper or receiver, totally different story. That doesn't fall back on you at all. So be available for dispatch 5 days out of the week. No load refusals. No driver service failures. No CSA points for the week. No preventable accidents for the week. And get your paperwork in on time. Cutoff is on Tuesday at 10 p.m. So that's the cutoff. That's today. Make sure that you get that in before the cutoff, so you will be paid Friday. So whatever you get in by Tuesday, you're paid on Friday. And in order to qualify for that minimum pay, you have to get all of your paperwork in by Tuesday. Otherwise, it'll be your rate of pay per mile and the miles that you run, which probably will usually exceeds it each and every week. But again, if you had for instance, where you had a lot of layover, or you had equipment failures, or you had canceled loads for some reason, if the customer ended up having to cancel a load, then we had to move you on to something else. But anyways, if it affected your miles, then you have that safety net to protect you. Weather, that's another one, all there to protect you. Oh, that's what it was. So talking detention, layover, that kind of thing, the ATRI, they are running a survey going on right now. And it just reminded me, and I don't want to forget. Some of you, if you're currently with Decker, you're probably well aware of this, because we've been sending it out in our weekly newsletters the last couple of weeks. What's happening inside the triangle is our weekly newsletter. And ATRI, the American Transportation Research Institute, is running a survey right now for input on detention time or downtime at shippers and receivers. They know that detention has been an ongoing issue for quite some time, but they need input from drivers. So they're asking you to fill out that survey. And I know I'm kind of bouncing off a little bit about Decker here, but it is important for you to share information, use it through that survey, because it's your opportunity for your voice to be heard. We know that it's affecting you. They're just trying to figure out, okay, so how can the industry combat that? How can we fix this? How can we work with it? How can we better understand it? And one of the things they said is drivers routinely rank detention and delay at the customer's facilities among the top concerns in the industry. And again, they're just trying to figure out how to combat it. So you have, not this Friday, next Friday, so you have until the 26th of April to fill out that survey. And again, it's American Transportation Research Institute, ATRI. They're the ones that are doing the research, running the survey, and hopefully coming up with a lot of data that will help to support you guys and get you moving along the way. So, okay. Michael says Refrigerated out of Chicago. Yes. How you doing, Michael? Yes, we have Refrigerated out of Chicago. Right now, it is 11 days out and 3 days home. We also have the OTR option. So if you want to stay out 2 to 3 weeks at a time, that is definitely an option. You can run coast to coast, or you can stay east of Denver. Actually, I'm going to just take a second there to explain our running lanes for the different divisions. Yesterday, I had somebody ask me, Sean asked me actually, and he had said that he is in the regional position and he wasn't quite sure where the running lane, where all he'd be running. So I needed to clarify. He is not the only one, so that's why I want to make sure that you understand our regional, what we consider regional, is everything in the refrigerated division, is everything east of Denver. We don't do a whole lot of the New England states or New York, so that's not something you see a lot. But you would definitely see Iowa and Illinois and Chicago, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. Every once in a while we'll have something in the Laurel, Maryland area. We've got freight in the refrigerated division in Atlanta, Georgia, around Birmingham, Alabama, Louisiana, Baton Rouge area, Shreveport. I mean, so we've got a lot of freight. Monroe in the Louisiana area, Mississippi, Memphis, Tennessee, good spot for us. We also got a lot of freight there. Texas, Dallas, Houston, Amarillo, Guyman, Oklahoma. Those are really busy areas for us for freight. Kansas City, great area. Omaha, Nebraska, great area for refrigerated. So those are all areas that you would see, whether you're in the over-the-road refrigerated or if you're in our more regional refrigerated. So it's still over the road because you're still out 11 days at a time and home for 3. You're just not going out west. And that's how we decipher the difference between the two. The ones that go out west are our true OTR division, and they're out a minimum of 2 to 3 weeks at a time. Our teams are out a little bit more. Speaking of teams, I believe we have a team opportunity available. Let's see. I believe I saw a team. You'd be running about 4 weeks at a time. There it is. We have one team looking for Midwest area home base as your home base for your team. If you're interested in a team opportunity, reach out to us, 877-433-2537. But it is 4 weeks at a time for the team opportunity. And team pay. Since I'm bringing up team, I should probably talk about your pay. So team pay starts at 60 cents a mile, and then it goes up based off of the number of miles that you run. So 60 cents a mile. If you run between 12 and 14,000 miles a month, it gets a raise, basically a mileage bonus of 2 cents a mile. It goes up again between 14 and 16, another two from 16 to 18, and anything over 18,000 miles as a team for the month, you'll get an extra 8 cents a mile. So 68 cents a mile total, except for the 60 cents a mile will be split per driver each week. You'll get that every single week. And then the extra 8 cents a mile for the team will be paid in a bonus, usually the third pay period of the week following. Most of our bonuses pay out the third pay period of the month following when you ran it. So for instance, all the miles that you run for February pay out the third pay period of March. So it kind of gives you an idea of how that breaks down. And it's usually on that pay settlement, that Friday settlement is what I'm getting at. Okay. All right. But yes, Michael, we do have the refrigerated out of Chicago. The reason that rung a bell to me is because we also have teams that run into the Chicago area as well. And they run a lot of Chicago, Kansas City, into Guyman and Denver, some into the Phoenix area. So those are all areas that you'd see quite a bit in our refrigerated division, especially if you're team. Okay. Benefits all start after 60 days. So medical, dental, vision, prescription. We have, speaking of prescription, we have $0 copay prescription for generics. We have $0 copay programs for specialty and brand name prescriptions as well. So if you have questions, reach out to the recruiter. We can get you more details on that. They are separate plans for the specialty drugs, the specialty brand name prescription drugs versus the generic. It doesn't cost you more to use one or the other. It's just, or I mean, well, technically it would, because but it doesn't cost you to have both of them, is what I'm saying. But it saves you using the generic $0 copay to use generics on that one, and then for the specialty or brand name drugs to use that one specifically for the $0 copay. So you want to sign up for both. That way you're seeing the savings at both levels. And again, that's $0 copay in both of those options. What else? Vision is Vision, Delta Dental, again, all after 60 days. We also have a 50% match on the 401k that's available to you at 60 days too. So if you are new to Decker, or you're coming aboard to Decker, and you are assigned an ambassador, which is basically someone who's in-house that can help you navigate some questions that you might not know the answers to when you're out on the road or don't know who to ask, that's when you reach out to your ambassador and say, hey, help me out. Who do I go to for this? Or how do I do this? Anyways, they'll remind you that at 21 days, you want to get your insurance in, because at 60 days, it kicks in. So you'll want to apply for open enrollment for your insurance at the 21-day mark here at Decker. But again, we'll have reminders for you there, and you'll be able to go through and identify, okay, I want this insurance, because you have several, what do I want to call it? Short-term, long-term, just additional insurances that you can purchase. Life insurance, accidental death and disability, critical illness, I think I mentioned that one. Those are all add-ons that you can apply for or register for, so that you can have additional coverage. It's a long explanation, but it's all available to you, and you'll be able to look at the breakdown within the benefits package. Yes. All right. So the benefits all start after 60 days. The equipment, like I said, is fully equipped. Orientation itself, I kind of skipped over that, so I'm going to backpedal and go over orientation and qualifying. If you are looking to qualify for Decker, you do need a minimum of 6 months of tractor trailer experience. Now, if you are brand new to trucking and you just recently graduated from one of our approved schools, then we can train you in our refrigerated divisions as well as our Midwest flatbed division. However, our over-the-road flatbed division, we do require at least 6 months of flatbed specific experience. If you don't have that, then you'll need to get either a year of tractor trailer or those 6 months of flatbed in order to qualify for our over-the-road flatbed division. But other than that, we do offer training. That probably means that you'd be on a waiting list for a week or two before you can come into orientation, because usually our trainers stay pretty darn busy. So the training department, there are limited availability there, of course. As for the orientation process, it's 3 days in orientation for experienced drivers, and then you're usually dispatched out right after that. So usually dispatched out Thursday or Friday, depending on when that load is available for you. And then with the students, you have a week-long orientation, so Monday through Friday, and then you'll go out with a trainer for 2 to 3 weeks. Now, we pay you for orientation. We pay you $500 for completing orientation, and then we'll pay you, of course, to go out with a trainer. So $700 a week while you're with a trainer, which works out to $100 a day. If you're a student and you qualify for the student and everything. If you're an experienced driver, then you'll be getting your minimum pay, which will be either $1,000 or in most cases it's $1,000. That $1,450 flatbed trucker, you would qualify for that one just because of where you live and the running lanes that you'd be running. Yes. What other questions? Anything? Any other questions that I'm missing here? make sure I address it. You get paid every Friday, direct deposit. Like I said, cutoff is on Thursday. Or, sorry, cutoff is on Tuesday. Get that right? All right. Okay. The teams, bouncing back to the teams are available. Teams can qualify, is what I meant to say. They can qualify for the scorecard and safety bonuses as well as the mileage bonus. So you've got your rate of pay per mile as a team that's paid every week. Then you've got your mileage bonus that I mentioned goes up to an additional 8 cents a mile. That is paid usually the third pay period of the month following when you ran it. But then you also have the scorecard and the safety bonus that our other company drivers and owner-operator lease purchase drivers can qualify for. And that's going to be an extra 5 cents a mile for the team. And that is on all dispatch miles, so loaded and empty, and that's going to be paid out the third pay period as well. So you do have that growth to go with. Excellent. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys bearing with me. I'm sorry for the lag at the beginning. I'm not sure if it caught up or not, but I was noticing that. But I do thank you for staying with me today. And if you guys have more questions, don't hesitate to get a hold of our recruiting department. 877-433-2537. Talk to recruiting and get your questions answered. And then we also go live every Monday at 4 p.m. Central if you want to hop on our Facebook page and join us there. Otherwise, I will see you next week and we'll visit more. We'll keep you up to date and kind of go over a reminder of what to do to prepare for the Blitz that's coming up next month, the 14th through the 16th of May. So you want to be prepared for that. Hint, do your post-trip and your pre-trip. Always. Yes. Okay, enjoy the rest of your week. And if you are in the midst of weather, please stay safe and make sure that you're communicating with your driver manager so that you are not only in a safe spot, but they are aware of what's going on as well. So, all right, you guys be safe. I will talk to you next week. Thank you so much.